Hello, and welcome back to the podcast where you are invited for lighthearted conversations about things that matter as you seek to live your most meaningful, beautiful, and joyful life. I'm your host, Dr. Edie Wadsworth, and I hope you enjoy your stay here at the House of Joy.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to House of Joy. It is a new week. It is a new Thursday, and we are here to bring you some wisdom again on this Thursday.
Yes, welcome everybody. I'm so happy to be here with my Emily May. I'm so happy to be here with you. You're going to love this episode. Tell us what we're in for.
Yes, today we are going to dive into what it means to live light and free. And we're going to give you 10 practical tips to let go of what's holding you down, weighing you down, and holding you back.
Yes.
So this is going to be a really light, bright, fun episode, and I think you guys are gonna love it. And I think it is one of those things that I feel like every episode it feels like it's so in line with what we are currently trying to do better, doing well, but currently doing. So
yes. And I can think of seasons in my own life, I don't know if you can relate, where I literally felt so heavy, where things felt so serious, so heavy. You know, whether it was like regret of something or dread of something or something that you're going through that you feel like, you know, just feels heavy.
Yeah, I felt that all last year. I felt like I was putting so much weight into every decision, every choice I made, every day, really. Yeah. I was putting
like on, carrying the literal weight of the world, y'all.
Yeah, and it made me exhausted.
Yeah, and we were not meant to carry weight like that. And so we're going to talk about kind of like how we get ourselves in these states of mind where everything feels hard and heavy and dark or whatever, and some really practical solutions for how you can begin living in a way that feels
the backpack off,
lighter, freer, take the backpack off,
the burden.
Yes. So I'm actually excited. We're going to start, you know, it's going to start with sort of like seasons where we've experienced this ourselves, but we're going to get to a place where you're going to feel like, oh yes, I want to do that. Like super practical tips that you can start today.
Yeah, I'm so excited. And actually, I really do feel like it is crazy, like all jokes aside, how much these topics always align with things that I've either, it's like, you know, when people say like you'll read or like the message at church will always like somehow feel like it's directly to you in a specific moment. Like I feel like these podcast episodes
are for you.
I'm like, wow, this is like very
it's
very
funny too
timely.
Because we have all of these, you know, when we're trying to like sort through and figure out what we want to talk about, we have all these choices. Today I was looking at, you know, like, oh my gosh, we have so many fun episodes we could do, but we always end up kind of picking things that where the timing feels like, oh, this feels fresh to like me. This feels perfect. So good.
Yeah, you'll sometimes say something. I think that's what happened this morning. You like said this title, and we had talked about this, I think, in the past, but I was like, nope,
That's what we're
doing
today. Yeah. So anyways, we are so excited to be here. I have actually recently, I go in and out of this. I have learned, I will say this, I spent probably the first 45 years of my life feeling this sense of heaviness, mostly from my past. It's like I was never able to relinquish it before I learned like all of the things that I teach women in my program. Before I learned that, I was like, well, obviously these hard things happen to me, so obviously I have to carry them around. Right. That felt necessary and obvious. And as I learned, like, oh no, it can be true that it happened. And also, I don't have to carry it around like a badge of honor or like a heavy backpack. So I have a lot of experience with this, and I have learned over the past 10 or 12 years, you guys, how to live my life so free, so present, so joyful in seasons where it still could feel hard. Like, you know, and I think there's way more of it. And you and I talked about this in the last few days. There's way more of it related to your mindset than you think. Does that mean that it's all your mindset? That objectively there aren't hard things? No, of course, objectively there are difficult seasons and hard things, but we can make it way worse, way heavier by the way we frame it, by the perspective we see it in. And so yeah, we're going to talk about that. I think also too, I don't know if this is as applicable for your age, Em, but I know a lot of women that I coach feel like they have a lot of regret and a lot of like, how did I end up here? I thought I would be at a different place. I thought we would be better off financially. I thought we would be in a different place in our marriage. I thought I would have such and such relationship with my kids. Like, I think a lot of times either regrets or expectations of how we thought it would be right now or how we thought it would be today.
Yeah.
I still do that. I'm like, okay, how am I still
be...
struggling with this one thing? And you can make that even feel heavy. And so I think for women in midlife, especially, it can be regrets. It can be things that you actually, like for me, things that I never processed from my past. It could be feeling like this heaviness where it's like this dread of the future where you haven't learned how to cultivate a real hope and possibility for the future, which, by the way, is always your own responsibility to do. And so if you're not actively creating light and free, you're going to feel heavy.
Yeah, I definitely think like even for my age people, which this may surprise you, but maybe not. I mean, of course, I haven't lived as much life and I have not gotten to all the stages of life that a lot of people your age have where it's like kids and marriage and things look differently in that way.
Yeah.
But there's definitely ways, and I've experienced this with my friends who like I've been through with college. And as if you've listened to our podcast before, like I have a past that's like not exactly now the way I live at all. And so it is easy even for people my age. And I think once you start getting to this point of like adulthood where you're like, I know how I want to live my life. And I feel like we have all these tools, especially like I feel like I'm so blessed with all these tools that now I get to live in this way. So it is easy to look back and have regret or feel like, oh, why did I waste so much time like getting pulled into this stuff that I, felt peer pressured or whatever it is. So it's different, but it's still the same. Like, it is easy to look back and
if you were to
like,
keep focusing on that and keep beating yourself up about that and keep, then you could still create for yourself a lot of misery now.
Yeah. Or just beating yourself up. And So
and
I definitely think it's
like
relevant.
as people of faith, Jesus says, come to me, all of you who are burdened and heavy laden, like his yoke is easy. His burden is light. And I think that we can just take that as he says it.
Yes.
Like we can just, and we'll talk about practical ways to do that, but really just learn to let go so that we can live our lives more free. Because the thing of it is, I talk about this a lot, but when you are carrying around a lot of heavy baggage, you're not free to serve other people, to, go for goals. Your mind is not free to daydream, to think about the possibilities, to remember, the goals or dreams that you had in the past. Like is in so many ways, you're just literally burdened down. And it feels like if you have that sense of, I just feel stuck. I've heard women say, I feel like I'm trudging through quicksand. That is likely because you're holding on to things that you're not meant to carry, that you're not meant to hold on. And it really is time to let it go.
I think why this topic has been so prevalent to us and to me, especially lately, is we've been talking a lot and having a lot of conversations about capacity and opening up your capacity and believing that you have the ability to accomplish more, do more, and it's feels light.
Yes.
And so
it
that's
can
part
feel
of it.
Easy and light.
It feels easy and light. And I think back to last year when I remember feeling so much heavier and like everything was harder.
Everything was hard. And
I just felt like I was struggling in every way. Like every area of my life felt like hard.
Yeah.
And what I really hated about that time the most is the way that I was not able to show up for other people. And I felt like my attitude towards other people and other people's struggles and other people's everyday, like, is not how I want to even be towards other people.
Yes.
And it did stem from the way that
And that is so powerful, Em, because we really are people who should be carrying each other's burdens.
Yes.
And you can't carry someone else's burdens if you're carrying your own all the time.
And I think that's something I'm learning so much
Yeah.
in terms of capacity and the ways that looks like in my life. Like, what does it look like to have more capacity? And
yes,
I've been trying to challenge myself to step outside of myself. And I've been able to watch so many people in my life who it does look like it's so easy for them to just like remember other people's struggles and like really be intentional with their time with other people. And it's like they have all this stuff going on and it seems so easy for them to like be light and be like, there's no
I've got
heaviness.
that for you. Oh, let me help you.
I remembered to text you back. I remembered to make you feel like I was thinking about you.
Yes.
And I've always been a little envious. Like, I feel like I can't have that capacity. Like, I feel like once I get a hold of myself, then I'm kind of like, that's all I can do.
Yes.
You know? But I've been really
Yes.
pushing myself to have a better mindset. And it's crazy how it does once you change your mindset about how you can show up.
Yep.
It does like really become easier.
Yep.
It really does become easier. And even today, like, I don't know, I just have been really trying to practice like having a positive attitude about my life and about things I can't control, like especially with Haddon being gone. Like, it's not inevitable, or like you have to choose to like live your life like this, light and free. You have to choose it, or you know, you said that too. But it's been so helpful for me to like intentionally choose to be lighter. Yeah. And I don't think I would have called it that. I was really thinking about it in terms of capacity, but it really goes hand in hand. Like, when you open up yourself to more capacity, you feel lighter about everything. Yes. Everything does not feel as hard. Everything does not feel as heavy. Yep. And
it's interesting really because, and we're going to jump into, like, I want you to think about your own, the heaviness that you may be carrying around. We're going to talk about a few different categories so that we can recognize it. I really do think awareness of it is a huge part of, you know, learning to live intentionally in an opposite way. But I noticed one thing. It was interesting last weekend. Dad was wanting to talk about something. It was kind of like a financial decision we needed to make. Yeah. And I thought to myself, oh, I don't have room to do that right now. Yeah. That was my initial reaction. You know what I mean? Like, immediate. One more thing. I can't think about that. It's like
immediate, and you don't realize it, but kind of a negative
attitude. Immediately have a negative attitude. Right. And it's so interesting because I know what that feels like when I'm on the receiving end of that.
Where you're trying to bring something up,
and there's like, you feel this immediate resistance. And I recognized it right away. And right away, I felt the resistance and I just let it go. And I was like, no, yeah, let's talk about it. Yeah. And just that little thing is so powerful because we had a really good discussion about it. We didn't right then come to a conclusion of what we wanted to do, but at least I didn't like put up resistance, put up a wall, and then he would be feeling like, you know. So I think even things like that can come from not keeping a lightness, like not really dealing with your life as it comes and keeping things light.
Yeah, it's like when you believe that things are too much for you, they're too much for you. And I remember that's exactly the mindset I had last year, was like, everything is too much. I can't deal with that right now. Yeah. Don't bring that to me.
And if you notice, I will say this for our listeners, if you notice that you're doing that a lot, either out loud or mentally you're saying, I can't deal with that right now, you are probably carrying
a heavy weight.
A heavy weight.
And the thing is, at the time, I had no clue that I was. Yes. It just felt like, no, everything's hard. Everything's bad. Yeah. Which that's kind of dramatic, but it really was that kind of attitude in the back of my head. Like, I didn't think I was carrying this around. I thought it was other things that were making me feel like that. Yeah.
And I understand why we do it, especially as women, and really, especially as women in midlife. Because if we haven't learned these mental resilience, emotional resilience tools, if we haven't learned that, then there is a lot, you know? Mm-hmm. I was working with my coach yesterday and I said, yeah, my brain keeps offering me that what I'm doing right now in my life is a lot. And she said, well, you know, you could argue with that and just change your mindset. She said, I know you know how to do that. Right. But there's also the other option of going, okay, this is a lot. How can I support myself in this season of a lot? So I think even that is so freeing because you go, okay, yeah, I could count the things that I'm, holding, and it feels like a lot, but also how can I support myself? So I think there's a lot of different ways to approach it, but I want to start with what are the sources of this for us so we can just identify it. And I think one thing is just emotional baggage that is unprocessed. This is probably the most common thing that most of us deal with. We're going through life, something happens, we don't give ourselves a chance to process it, or we disconnect from ourselves, or we've been so disconnected from ourselves that we're not even in touch with the emotions that are coming up. And that emotional baggage is not meant to be carried around. Emotions are meant to be felt, processed, acknowledged, and then you move on. And I made that sound easy, but most of us, don't have the skills to do that. We're going to talk about a couple of ways when we get to the practical part of how to do that. But ask yourself, am I carrying around a bunch of emotional baggage? Does my heart just feel heavy up to here? Does every time someone brings something up, my immediate thought is, I can't handle that. Like, not right now. I can't do that. And it probably is a sign that you're carrying around a lot of emotional baggage that you're not meant to carry around. And I promise you, you can dismantle that backpack today. You can decide today.
Well, there's a reason your brain is trying to protect you. Like, we can't handle anymore because you've not handled what is going on in your brain.
Yep.
And yesterday, actually, this is so funny because I got home from working all day and it was a really good work day. Like, I felt really productive and I felt like I put a lot of brain power in, but sometimes after that you can feel a little tired. Yeah. And I felt kind of like that, where like the emotion was like up to the here.
You hadn't really been able to think through it and process it.
And I, it's funny, I've been posting more on TikTok, just like honestly kind of like as a journal, almost as like a digital way to get my feelings out. And like some of my friends watch it and it's not anything too serious, but it's been really helpful for me. And I felt all these emotions and I started crying about Haddon and I was just really sad. But then afterward, I just felt so much better that I allowed myself to like feel those emotions. It was like 3:00, not probably the best time. I could have been doing other things. I could have been, getting stuff done around the house, but I just like
nothing more important though than that, actually.
Well, and I allowed myself, and I was supposed to go on a run that day because I'm training for a half marathon, and something about just like acknowledging that I was sad, and I allowed myself to feel it, and then I went on a run, and I literally just felt so much freer and lighter after that. I'm like, yeah, that was really hard to start. It was really hard to like just let it out because you don't know when it's going to end. You don't know if you're going to feel better.
Yeah.
But then I exerted some energy after, and I felt literally like so much better. And I said in my TikTok, because I just decided to like film because I knew that would help me get the motivation to run. And it is hard for me to like, I'm a very much holding it in, which is funny because I am like an emotional person on the outside. Like, I'll cry at the guy walking his dog across the road, and I'll cry at that, and I'll cry at this, but I won't cry about things that actually are holding space in my brain.
Yes.
So I've been trying to be better about being more intentional about like, I feel sad or I feel this way, and I'm gonna cry about that.
Yeah.
And yeah, anyway, yesterday, literally, I had to practice this, and it did make me feel
like this is literally something that I'm practicing so often, and the more you practice it, it's a skill that you develop, creating lightness, creating joy. I mean, this is the House of Joy podcast, everyone.
Yes.
But a lot of times what you have to be able to do is let go of the things that are obscuring the joy, that are in the way of the joy. So the emotional baggage is one thing. Also, just our mental patterns. Like, literally, if you tell yourself these negative thoughts all the time, you're going to feel heavy. Those thoughts feel heavy. Thoughts like, my best days are behind me. For me, I'm going through a lot right now. This is a lot that I'm carrying. And, again, it's not like you're trying to gaslight yourself into that these things aren't hard. No, you're acknowledging yourself and you're going, am I contributing to it?
Yeah.
By the way, I'm thinking about it by my mental patterns around this. Do I notice that I'm always spiraling to the worst thing, to negativity? And the more you're aware of this, the more you will realize you're doing it. I think we are doing this so much more than we acknowledge.
Yeah, the mental loop that your brain is on feels like you can't control it because your brain doesn't really want to control it. It wants to just go on a loop.
It loves to spin in negativity.
And it can be as simple seriously, I think I'm not focused. I'm not good at this. These things are such little small thoughts that literally weigh heavy on you because you're beating yourself up all day, every day.
Yep.
And it is easy to just get along with it, especially my brain. It's easy to clean the house instead of think about it. It's easier to even sometimes exercise can do that for me. You can your body will use anything to do that instead of changing your thoughts.
Yes.
And
because we're convinced that it's not just our thoughts. We're convinced that, no, this is really true. My question for you to ask yourself is, okay, even if it's true, I acknowledge a lot of the things that I was thinking were true. Is it giving you life and freedom and joy to keep focusing on it? And if it's not, it's worth changing.
Yeah.
And I feel like, too, to kind of go along with that, is we carry around a spiritual heaviness. I did this, oh my word, so much in my young life because the spiritual things felt so heavy. Have I sinned again? Am I pleasing God? Am I, I used to struggle with, am I really saved? All of this weighty spiritual stuff. You guys, faith is just believing that God loves you. He's for you. He forgives you. You are his. If you are feeling distant and heavy from God, he hasn't gone anywhere. He loves you. He's right there. And that comfort that we can get from the scriptures, that reassurance that we are loved and cherished, that we are his, that faith is a matter of believing things you can't see.
Yeah, and I think it's for me, sometimes I grew up the opposite way. We've talked about this kind of before, where we kind of grew up opposite ways, where you kind of looked at faith as something
I need to do. I need to prove myself. I need to earn it. Yeah.
And I kind of grew up an opposite way, where luckily
God loves you.
I knew God loved me.
Yeah.
And that was never
I'm not trying
question.
to measure up.
So sometimes for me, it's a little bit more of an, I need to, I don't know what the word is, but it's not I kind of go the opposite way.
Yeah.
And we're actually doing a study of Colossians, and kind of the theme of that book is Christ within you and walking with Christ. Yeah. And one of the girls there, Greer,
Christ in you, the hope of glory.
Yes.
So good.
And one of the girls there was she just had this beautiful moment talking about one of the passages and what a beautiful picture of Christ, that walking in Christ is walking with Christ, and he's holding your hand and he's there with you.
Yes.
And that is the beautiful thing about being free of your burdens. He's carrying them, walking alongside of you.
Yes.
And I think a lot of times, for me, it's easy to, whether it's really good times or really hard times, I do acknowledge Christ's presence because it's a lot easier in those tumultuous.
Yes.
Or really.
But just on a regular Tuesday.
But on
when
a Monday. Yes.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier to just ignore.
Yeah.
Instead of really walking.
Just acknowledge it.
Yes.
Oh, I have this helper. I have the Holy Spirit. I have this presence that's always with me and comforting me and guiding me, and the wisdom that he gives me. Yes, that acknowledgement.
And it's
true.
So helpful. It really does make you feel
It's
lighter.
on the one hand, we can acknowledge it. It's almost like we can acknowledge it so much that it hurts us.
Yes.
Or not enough.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. And so whatever way it is for you, if it feels like an emotional baggage, if it feels like just a slew of negative thoughts and negative mindsets, if it feels like a spiritual thing, sometimes too, I think it feels like relationships. I will say this, you guys, we can get ourselves into a tizzy when we are overly focused on things that are wrong in relationships, or when you're comparing yourself to other people in relationships, instead of like, this is where I am, this is what I've been given, can I just let go of all the expectation and the comparison and just enjoy what I've been given in my life, in my relationships? I think we can make that almost an idol, where we put so much pressure, especially on marriages, to be the end all be all of everything for us, instead of, really acknowledging that I'm the one responsible for what I'm creating in my life. It's not somebody else's job to, quote unquote, make me happy or make me fulfilled. We have these relationships as gifts from God to draw us closer to each other, to draw us closer to God. And are the thoughts that I'm thinking about these relationships creating this feeling of comparison and judgment and heaviness?
It reminds me when me and Haddon went to a few sessions. Thank goodness we were able to go to a few sessions of marriage counseling before he left. And our pastor was like, just giving us a challenge, because of course what you focus on grows. Like, that's kind of what we're saying here. And he was like, y'all are going to be apart from each other for a year. And so it's even more important when you're not physically with someone, like the way that you talk about them to other people, the way that you feel about them, the way that you think about them is going to be your experience of them, especially because you don't have a physical experience of
with them right now. Yes.
And so he challenged us. He's like, and I think this is good even when you're with the person.
It's so good when you're with the person.
Like,
because it's so easy for our minds to go secretly, oh my gosh, look what he's doing wrong. Oh my gosh, I hate the way da-da-da.
And
oh my gosh.
especially when you like say that, when you actually even, you think it, but especially
if
when
you
say it to another person. And
it kind of reinforces that I must be right because now this person's kind of agreeing with me.
And if I talk about him so highly, does that mean that he's perfect? No.
Yeah.
But it means that the way that I experience him every day is in the highest regard of who he is.
I love this so much. I have to tell you this story because you were too little to be reading my blog back then, but we'll have to pull this up on the old blog. But I used to write like blog posts to Dad or about Dad. And I wrote one called, I think I called it like Oak of Righteousness or something like that. And I basically was doing that. Like, this is what you are. You're so strong. You're da da da. And I had him read it back then. And he goes, that's just not true about me. And I was like, that's how I see you, though. Mm-hmm. And here's the crazy thing. He is 20 times more of that now than he was then. So what part of who we are becoming is how we think about ourselves, how other people speak into us, how, do you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like, it's so powerful.
Your belief is so powerful.
You know, we do this is kind of a joke, but I used to do this for you guys when you would get out of the car before you go to school. I would, say, you're a leader, you're a sunshine, you've got Jesus in your heart and the way you show up is so loving and powerful, like basically pouring into you.
And we're like, Mom,
and you're like rolling your eyes. I do this to Tom and he's like, Mom, stop.
I'm so embarrassed.
He's so embarrassed. But I am just pumping him full of words of life. Like, you are a leader. You have the capability of really being such a light in the world. You shine, and all this stuff. And he's like, always like, no, I'm not. But I just know how powerful that is. And I had so much of that in my own life, despite the fact that there were a lot of hard things too.
Yeah.
But there were so many people speaking life over me, pouring into me. And we can be that for other people, especially
really,
the people.
That's what we're called to be.
That's
like, that is how God looks down on all of us. He sees every greatest thing about us, everything that we
He
do
knows
well.
what we're capable of. He knows our potential. He knows that His goodness in us makes us good.
Yes.
And we can just trust that for other people and holding them in the highest regard. You would be surprised how much lighter and more joyful you would experience your relationships if you did that.
And we also have the capability of also doing that for ourselves, like seeing yourself that way.
Agreeing with God about what He says about you and how much He adores you. Yes. Okay, so let's get to these practical tips because I mean, we've talked a lot about it already, but I just think there are some super practical things. And the first one reminds me of the Disney movie, Let It Go. But literally, what are you holding on to right now that you don't control, that you could just let go? And I'll give you some examples. You cannot change other people.
Yep.
So if you keep making yourself feel heavy and miserable about someone else, just practice for a week letting that go. Just practice for a week controlling the thing that you can control, your own thoughts about that situation, your own thoughts about that person, your own thoughts about your past, your own thoughts about your finances. What if you just decided to just listen? I tell my clients this. If you want to pick all those burdens back up in a week, great.
Yeah.
Just try it for a week to just kind of mentally lay it down. Maybe you think of, I'm just going to lay this into God's hands. Like I loved what you said. He's walking beside us. Like I just hand it over and go, look, I can't control this. This is all yours.
Yes.
I had a coach one time who said, there's 3 types of business. There's your business and my business and God's business. And so often we're living in somebody else's business or what is God's business instead of living in what can I control here? What is actually my part to do? Because we're spending so much time trying to control other things and other people, and it's making us feel miserable and heavy, and not enough time controlling the one thing we can control. So what if just for a week, you just let it go?
Yep.
It's so powerful.
It is.
And then if you want to pick it back up in a week and you're like, oh, that lady's crazy. I do want to carry this. Try it. But I promise
you're not
you,
gonna feel
you
as
don't.
good. You're not going to feel as good.
It's not going to be as fun. You're not going to be able, I love is it the scripture in Philippians that says run your race? Well, you can't run your race.
Yep.
You know, you're not going to wake up with a spring in your step with like hope for the day when you wake up. If you're constantly
bogged down by someone else's that you literally can't do anything about.
Control. Yeah. So
Carrie always tells me that because you have this, it's called a creation cycle, and she's like, you can't, you're stepping into their creation cycle. Like you literally can't do anything about the way that they're experiencing the world.
Yeah. And in the creation cycle is just cognitive behavioral therapy, that our thoughts create our emotions, create our actions. And my clients will often do this when I'm coaching them. They will say, they will want to work on their relationship, but really what they want to work on is the other person.
How do I get them to stop doing this?
I'm coaching you right now, and your thoughts and your emotions and the actions, those are driving you to take.
Yes.
And that's really the only thing any of us can control. And so what do you want to create for yourself? If you want to create more lightness and more joy in your day, you got to think thoughts that are lighter and more joyful.
Yes.
So how can we do that? The second thing is to decide fast. Now, I gave an example of this, but I've been practicing this probably for 2 or 3 months very specifically. One of the things that causes us to feel overburdened and heavy and like we can't take on anything else is because we're holding a bunch of things we just haven't decided.
Yeah.
So I just went through in the last week and made so many fast decisions. I don't know why I do that. I do the same thing. Like,
and I think it's a little bit to do with like an ADHD type of brain.
Yeah.
Where like for some reason, like I just will procrastinate something till the very last second, a task that takes me like literally 5 seconds.
Yeah.
But for some reason, letting it build up and then weigh on me.
One of the things that I had done this on last week, I was keeping the babies, and Taylor and Mary Kate were kind of wanting to redo part of Elijah's room, and they're just going to redo a couple of things in their house. And so while I was there, we started looking some stuff up, and I felt inspired. And when I came home, I was like, "Oh, I'll send you some more ideas." And I started looking, and it's almost like instead of what I would normally do, which would be, here's what I love. Oh my gosh, I saw this and I love this. Just send a bunch of stuff that I love. I got hamstrung by, well, I don't know if she would like it.
Yeah, so I don't know.
I don't know. And then I'm froze, and then I can't look anything up. And then it was crazy because last night she sent a text and said, the painter's coming. So if you have any, if you have any ideas about the paint. And I was like, okay. I felt bad. I felt this twinge of, again, this is probably something that mentally and emotionally I'm carrying this around in my head.
Yes, that you didn't do it.
Oh, I didn't do this. I want to do it.
Yeah.
I love this little boy so much. So it's funny because
she's asking for
asking, so I can just tell her like, oh, this is what I've been loving. So I started doing that. I literally sent her, I want to say 25 texts in a row.
Yeah.
And I just let my brain go. I'm like, I love this. I was looking at this the other day. I love this. And I started putting it all together. And literally, I'm not kidding you, within an hour, I had this beautiful vision board for this bedroom.
Which probably helped her so much. Even if she doesn't
use it. Yeah.
All of it. It's like you just being willing to like put your idea out there helped her so much.
Yeah, sometimes other people, and I told her, I said, oh my gosh, I'm loving this. Not sure if this color combo is something you would love. But then I sent her a bunch of options. And I said, oh, or you could go with this. And then just us back and forth, we kind of got like, no, I like that paint color better. And oh yeah, I like that rug. It was crazy because I was so hamstrung by probably overthinking it, probably like trying to please or trying to do something more than just, oh, here's what I'm loving. And, this might not be your thing, but whatever. And it was just funny because just even simple stuff like that, that was literally like 10 decisions that I just needed to make right in a row.
Yep.
Here's what I looked up. This is what I love. This is what I found. And it was so fun.
Yep.
And I feel like it was really helpful to her too. And I feel like even like with that situation of Dad and I and the decision that we needed to make, we've had a couple of more discussions about it. And I feel so light around it. I'm like, actually, either way is great, but I'm glad we talked through all the options. So what are you putting off decision-wise that you could just decide?
And it doesn't have to be so heavy.
It doesn't have to be so heavy. You can decide.
And maybe you have resistance to that. Like, no, it is so heavy. Well, you either put
this
it
feels
off.
heavy. It involves a lot of money. It could feel heavy.
But
both of us decided, here's the hilarious discussion we had. Dad, it's like on this investment, whether or not we want to make this investment or not. And Dad goes, I don't know. Part of me like wants to make the investment, and part of me like, why don't we just go skiing every other weekend? And
he would,
instead of doing that, like that sounds more fun to me and more light to me. And do we really need another investment that's going to take 10 years to possibly pay off? Like, it was hilarious the way two grown adults who do care about investments. We're talking about it. We just got it to a point where it felt light and fun and free. And I started laughing. I'm like, this is hilarious. This is probably not what a banker would advise us to do. Sorry, sir. We've decided not to make this investment. We decided we're going to go skiing.
They're like, okay.
But I am telling you, building the skill of just making decisions, trusting yourself, trusting your gut, it's a really powerful thing. And I think we, especially when we have, for our whole lives, we want to do things that are pleasing to other people, that, as a matter of fact, when we first started talking about this, I'm like, okay, we're talking about this like serious investment. I'm sure I should want to do it. Right? Instead of going, well, I don't know. Do we need another investment?
Yeah.
And once we both were just really honest, we were
should.
both feeling the same way.
Well, and I look back on my life and decisions I've made, and like, there's definitely going to be moments where you make maybe the quote unquote wrong decision, or you look back and are feeling like, oh, I should have probably done this. But everything ends up how it's supposed to anyway.
Yes.
And so you hemming and hawing and making yourself really stressed and really overwhelmed and really like in a state of kind of fight or flight about a decision, like when you really think about it, doesn't affect the decision. It's either gonna go well or not, and you'll figure it out if it doesn't.
Yeah.
And so you're putting all this weight, and sometimes for good reason, like it's a lot of money or it affects other people. But really things are going to go the way they're going to go anyway.
Either way. Yeah.
And everything I've like put so much weight into, it's like, didn't really matter anyway. Like what my decision was.
Yeah. And in the end, like I often do that. I'm like trying to get like a 30,000 foot view. Is this going to matter
in
when
30
I'm in
years?
heaven? Probably not.
No.
Probably not. So, okay, so we are letting go of something. I want you guys, write these down. I want you to do them today. One simple thing you can let go of, or an expectation you can let go of. Make a simple decision today on something you've been procrastinating on. Third thing is to declutter something, because think of how heavy it feels when your life is just full to the brim. Maybe declutter something physically, maybe declutter something from your schedule. Like get rid of something that lightens your load, whether that's something physically, whether that's something in your schedule. I've done this over and over and over for the past few years. Like, what am I adding to my schedule that doesn't need to be there? I want to have space to think, to feel light, and I know that for a lot of us, there are things that we're hanging on to, either physically or in our calendars, that we don't necessarily want to be doing. I had a chat with a friend of mine the other day, and she is doing this with a relationship that she's been holding on to for a long time out of guilt. And, she's like, I just don't want to do that anymore. I'm not angry. I just,
it's weighing me down.
Yeah. It's just not something. And I think, of course, with relationships, you want to think through that and be careful with that. But yeah, like, what are you still doing, or what are you holding on to physically that is kind of making your life feel heavy, that's making you feel like you really can't run your race, that you can't create the life that you really want, that feels lighter, more joyful.
I love that one.
Next is the next thing. This is simple, but I do this every single day, and it will help you do the other three things. Number 4 would just be to literally take 10 minutes a day to plan your day.
I love it. This has really changed my
life.
Yep.
It's not that hard. It can be challenging to get in the habit of it. But even today, because we had, 4 or 5 things that we needed to do today. I had a couple of different things like on my list. You know how it is. You wake up in the day and you're like, oh, I need to order groceries. I need to do this. I need to send this vision board.
Right.
All these things. When I woke up this morning, I took 10 minutes and wrote everything down. And suddenly I'm like, oh, okay.
We can totally
got
do
this.
That. Yeah.
Yeah. And again, as part of that, maybe this will be number 5, but as part of that, you just decide what your mindset is going to be around the day. One of the coaches that works with us and that is on our team, Angela, who we love so dearly, she was telling us this week in our team meeting that her thought was, this is going to be such an epic day.
An epic week, too.
And an epic week.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I've been thinking about that. I'm like, oh, I love that thought. And what if your thought was, yeah, there's these things that we're going to get done, and it is going to be an epic day.
Yeah, that's also changed. I think I talked about this a couple weeks ago on the podcast, but like how much it changed my day to wake up and just decide the very moment I woke up, like, this is a beautiful day. This is the day the Lord has made. Like, I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to love it. It's beautiful. And it does, like...
Yes, girl!
Although some things happen that aren't, like, your outlook as a whole is so different.
Yes.
You are looking things through that mindset.
Yes.
And it's really helpful. It's very easy, simple.
Yes.
And it doesn't mean the tasks get easier or whatever you actually have to do in that day, but it feels lighter.
It feels lighter.
Yeah.
Just a simple thought, you guys. Number 6, and this is something that I have over the years really simplified for my daily morning routine, is I usually will use an app on my phone. I will read a psalm or part of a psalm, and I will just pick one little phrase out of that to meditate on. So whether that for you might be, and sometimes I have picked a phrase that I literally have meditated on for weeks. I'm like, no, I still love thinking about that scripture.
Yeah.
I still love thinking about that little phrase. And so whether or not that is something like, I love what you said, this is the day the Lord has made, let us rejoice, let us be joyful in it. Whether it's something like his yoke is easy, like this is easy for him. This is not hard for him. This is not surprising to him.
Yes.
one of the ones that I have practiced over and over and over is that, I will, I can't remember the exact scripture, but it's basically like, I will tell the story of your love. Like, I will tell the story of God's love. I love that thought. Mm-hmm. How is my life every day telling the story of his love?
Yeah.
Like, that has been a really powerful thought for me. So, like, something as simple as that. Again, that doesn't take very long, and it doesn't feel like it would be all that shifting of your perspective, but it really those little things really do help. Mm-hmm. Number 7 would be take a quick walk.
So helpful.
Take a quick walk.
Like, this one, I will die on this hill.
I will die on this hill. Take a quick walk. And we're doing this next month in Life Mentoring School. And as you walk, process through an emotion. As you walk, ask yourself, how am I feeling right now? And wonder why. Allow yourself to be there. Process through it. Maybe it's not even a negative emotion. Maybe it's a positive emotion. But take a quick walk and be in tune with your emotional life.
Yes. And I think this seems really simple and like, duh, but it's so easy to not do this.
Yeah.
With technology, and like, I find myself really filling my mind, even if it's with good stuff, like a podcast that's helpful and knowledge, like educational.
Yes.
But I basically will have something in my mind at all times, like it's like filling a void almost.
That's number 9.
Yeah.
So keep going.
Well, with these walks, like, I've been trying to do more of these throughout a week where I have no headphones.
See the no headphones. I haven't been always doing that, but I love that for this purpose.
For music, like, sometimes things we are unintentionally blocking out.
Yes.
Things
the connection with ourselves, with God. Yeah.
And even just 15 minutes, no headphones, no sounds, just nature, just you and yourself, and it really can, like, bring things up you didn't even know.
Yeah.
And even if it doesn't bring up a super specific emotion or whatever, like, over time, it does connect you so much to yourself.
Yep.
And that is part of the challenge for February. And I think it will end up being so helpful for people.
Yeah. Number 9 for me was going to be like finding some source. Like, for me, it's usually a book. So, up at my desk, I'll have 3 or 4 books at a time. And I like to have a book that is kind of simple, inspirational, easy, or a podcast, but like literally filling your mind with things that you want to fill it with.
Yes.
Scripture, a book, a podcast. I just finished a little booklet called U Squared by Price Pritchett, and I was reading part of it to you guys in our meeting this week. And that book has got so many good little snippets. You could just open a page and read something quick and be inspired. And I have been doing this for years. They say, like, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So what are you allowing to fill your mind? Because that is going to contribute to this heaviness. I do remember also, a few years ago, Dad and I used to be so into everything that was happening in politics. And I think some people are built more for that, but we noticed for us that it was really affecting us emotionally and mentally. And we just took a break from that.
Yeah.
Like, take a break from heavy news if you're not a person who is built to handle that. If that's not part of your job, and really be careful. Like, what am I filling myself with? Because, that is having an effect. And if you tend to be a person who tends toward sadness or tends toward depression or tends toward this heaviness, be really careful, what you're putting in.
I think, like, don't believe the lie. Like, you can stay in tune and in touch with the world and what's important without being fed all of these, like, negative things all day, every day. It can be so consuming, and you're way less able to make an impact in the world if you're all consumed in media all the time. And I think, like, that's really important to remember.
Yeah. So good.
And it will weigh you down.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Like, media inherently is negative. It doesn't matter what side.
I mean, and in general, just your phone.
I mean, there's some positivity, thank goodness.
Oh, for sure.
but a lot of what notice it, like notice what you're being fed, because it can easily weigh you down just as much as real things in your life.
Yeah. Yeah. And the last practical tip that I have for this is and you can do this today, like all of these, you guys, you could do all 10 of these today. The last one is to send some love to someone else. Send them a text. Send them a note. Send them something in the mail. Just tell them, I love this about you so much. Just like an extra effort to do that, and you will feel lighter. You will feel better. You will be so blessed by it.
Yes,
and we do
you
not
will feel
do
gratitude
this
for
enough.
this person. You will feel blessed in your life. I notice when I intentionally think about someone in a positive way, or send them a message, or feel gratitude about them, it makes me reflect on everything kind of I have. And one way that is great to feel light and airy is like feeling gratitude about what you have.
Yes.
And especially people. Relationships is the biggest thing in our lives. Like, people say this all the time, but you get to the end of your life and nothing matters but the people that you surround yourself with. Yeah. And it's worth taking the time every day. That is one thing I'm so thankful to be able to like have this stuff to, make your life better, because really it just makes your relationships with people better. And the way that you view them, and the way that you care for them, and the capacity that you have to like love them and really be intentional with people. Like, I just always notice people that do that to me, and I feel like, wow, I don't take up any of their, like, this is not heavy for them to take care of me. This is not hard for them to like reach out to me and notice this. Yes. And I want to be that for someone else.
For other people. Yeah.
And for all the people in my life. Like, this wasn't a burden for them to like be my friend.
Yes. So good. And before we get to, we're going to share some things that we're loving right now. Before we get to that, let me just say, you guys, we just finished our Made for More workshop a few weeks ago, and we had
it was so
amazing feedback from it that we decided to make it available as an instant access video series. So if you didn't get to join us before and you would love access to it, about really how to create your best year yet.
Yeah, if things in this video or in our podcast where you're like, they say these things,
but I want more. Yeah.
Like, I think this is the first time you've ever done this with
This is the first time I've ever done this with one of our workshops, where we went back, we edited it in such a way that it'll be easy to consume. But anyways, you just go to ediewadsworthcoaching.com/more and you get instant access to it. It's so good. The feedback we got from this workshop was unlike any one we've, I think, ever had.
It's so transformational for people.
Yeah, it was insane.
Yeah.
So go join that workshop if you haven't yet. It can be life-changing for you, and I think will put you in the direction of having really one of your best years yet, where you can create this lightness and joy and service to other people, maybe in a way that you haven't in a long time. So,
yes.
All right, Emily May, what are you loving?
So this is actually honestly one of the things that brought up, like, I need to take my headphones out and I need to like be in silence for a second, because I've been absolutely obsessed with this audiobook, and it's on Spotify or Audible or whatever, but it's the Magnolia Park series, and it's like super, maybe I have talked about it on this, I don't remember, but there's plenty of books. There's like 5 books for 5.
What's the premise?
It's like so not up your alley, but just kind of like, it's really kind of like almost like a trash reality TV show in the form of a book. Like, have you ever heard of,
it definitely is not up my alley.
I guess not reality. It's just like, it's very not serious.
Okay.
But sometimes I need a little bit of that. Yeah. For sure. And I love this book series, and they're all British, and it's like they're all British in the audiobook.
Now that I might enjoy that just for the accents, actually.
And it's not like, you know how books these days can either be like super like naughty or sexual, and it's not anything really like that. So I appreciate that, but it's still kind of like dramatic and modern and yes. So I've been really loving that, and it's like I really have had to like put it down sometimes, because I'm like, this is like, it's not like it's taking away from my work or my productivity, but sometimes I need some silence in my ears. Yes. You know, it's good to have moments to reflect of yourself. And I've just been so obsessed with it that I can barely put it down.
Got you.
So I've been loving that book series. If you read it, let me know.
I love
Me
it.
and my friends have been loving that.
I'll go next because you guys, I know that I tried to make my new red boots from Tecovas that I got before Christmas my whole entire personality.
Totally fair.
And I will continue to do so. But we have been planning for Love is Magic, which is our live event that's in the summer at the end of June.
Can't wait.
Can't wait. If you're not in life mentoring school, you should get in there just to come to our live event because it's going to be insane. And I'm just going to give you a sneak peek here. Gold, light, and gold and sunshine is involved in the theme.
This is like exclusive.
This is like exclusive info. We haven't said
Just
this
so
to
you know.
anyone yet. And I instantly was like, you guys, hold on, because I've got to go order these gold boots that I've had my eye on from Tecovas since we went there, and Katie got them, and I have to have them for the live event. So,
and they're really cute, and like
they're so cute. They're short cowboy boots. I love them. I don't have them on right now, but I wore them yesterday and I love them.
They're really cute.
They're so cute.
I love them too. The second thing I've been loving in life recently is my Pilates studio.
You have become a Pilates girl.
I know. And it's like such a trend right now, especially with people my age. So I was always very like, no, not for me. And I got sucked in, and it has completely like, I think all of the change that I've seen in my life and my mind and my like spirit, I really think being active and physical for me, that really perpetuates me just being healthy person in general.
Yeah.
Like when I stop doing that, kind of everything feels like it falls.
Yeah.
But I started going in August, and kind of right when Haddon left, and it just is so cathartic to me. Like the movements, it feels like even more than just like physical sometimes. Like it really does feel like it brings me in tune to my body and in tune to my emotions. I can't really explain it. I think because it's like a slower, more intentional movement, and
probably without loud music.
Well,
blaring
actually,
like at CrossFit.
Kind of it is. I mean, it's definitely still a cardio workout, and it's like a great workout. I've also seen just some of the best results from working out. But I've just been loving it, and I love the studio I go to. It's called The Workout. It's in Chattanooga. And it's a little bit more expensive than just like a regular workout, but I've just found it to be keeps me on track. Like I really do stick with it every week.
So good.
And it's a class, so I do better with a class.
Yeah.
So I've just been loving it, and I am so excited to go every day.
I love that. Okay, I think I have one more. You guys, I have been using the same blush for a while, and I knew I loved it, but there's two things that happened that made me know, like, I should share this because I love this more than I acknowledged. One is this summer we were traveling and our luggage didn't make it. And so I had to go buy drugstore blush. And I was like, oh, okay, one of the things I really miss is my blush. And then I was traveling and my blush had fallen out of my bag, and I had a literal almost panic moment, like, I can't function without this blush.
Well, I will say it is a drugstore blush.
It's a drugstore blush.
But they, I guess, didn't have it at the drugstore you were at.
They didn't have it at the drugstore. And it's called Milani. Well, it's in my Amazon store. So if you just link to our Amazon store, it's in there. But it's got like highlight mixed in with it.
It's a great blush, and I think this great blush has really stood the test of time because
Ellie used to use this years
ago.
Did you used to use it years
ago?
The
beauty vloggers of 2014.
The beauty vloggers of 2014.
They loved this blush, and it's still
great,
true.
Y'all. It's 11 years old.
Yes, and
I've been using it for probably 3 or 4 years myself. I'm obsessed with it.
We'll have to find the exact color.
Yeah.
But it's one of those blushes, like you just tap it in a couple times.
Tap it a couple times and just tap on.
And it's good. And it's like, that's enough.
Yeah.
And
so good.
it is really good blush.
Okay. We have it on the word from Emily May. She likes it too.
Yes.
Did you have anything else?
I think that's all I've got for today.
Well, you guys, we love you so much. We're so grateful.
Wanted to say, we never say this in the episodes, but we're so proud of the episodes that we even did a year ago. And just because they're older episodes does not mean they do not hold a lot of truth, knowledge, wisdom, fun, funny. So don't forget, if you feel like I've caught up, I want more to listen to, go listen to our past episodes. I usually, in the show notes, link like 2 episodes that you would love to listen to. So if you ever are...
perfect.
Yeah, if you ever are in need of another listen, we have a
check it in the show notes or go back to
worth of episodes. Mom did a great series on emotional freedom. Like, there's so much goodness. So definitely go back and listen to our older episodes. Make that
good and inspirational content you put in your ears.
Yes.
That we talked about today. Yes. And thank you so much for all your comments, for leaving reviews. We love you. We love serving you in this way. We love being a part of your day. Yes. Whether you're on a walk or doing the dishes or driving in the car, we like going along with you. So have a great rest of your week. We'll see you soon.
We love you guys.
Bye.
Bye.